All right, welcome. My name is Paul Raja. I'm the instructor for the Newark Kids Code, an initiative provided by the Urban League of Essex County. In this video, what we're going to do, we're going to create a paddle and ball game utilizing Scratch. So we're going to pick up after we've done the introduction. So if you haven't seen the introduction to how to utilize Scratch, I highly recommend that you watch that video first and then come back to this video. So what we're first going to do is that we're actually going to get rid of our cat. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on and delete our cat. And what I want to do is I want to create a foul area. An area where the ball, if it does not hit the paddle, hits this area and it triggers off an alarm. So I'm going to click on my stage first and then go to backdrops. And in backdrops, I can actually see my stage. And I'm going to click on the rectangle tool. And then I'm going to say I do not want an unfilled rectangle. I want a filled rectangle. I'm going to click on the rectangle, and for this foul area, I'm going to color it red. So I'm going to go in the very bottom here, and I'm going to draw a red rectangular bar. Okay? And after I do this, I'm going to go back here and click on this little thing that says backdrop. So as you can see, now I have a rectangle foul area. The next thing that I want to do is I want to create a new sprite. And the first sprite that I'm going to create is our paddle. So I'm going to click on the little draw tool. And I'm going to go back and click on the rectangle. And this time I want a rectangle that's blue. Now you're more than welcome to choose whatever rectangle that you would like to choose. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to draw myself a little paddle. Now, what happens is that later in the game we're going to code this so that the center of the paddle, when you move the mouse, it follows the center. In order for us to do this right away, we have to click on the centering tool. So over here you see it says set costume center. So after you do that, you go to the middle of this crosshair and you drag it until it hits the middle of the paddle. You release the button. What will happen is that your costume or your sprite will go into the middle of the screen. So they will be on the X of 0 and the Y of 0. Okay, it'll be dead in the center. Now, I want to give my sprite a good name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to click on info and I'm going to say paddle. At the same time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the rotation style. Instead of being 360 degrees to be only left and right. I do not want my paddle to be able to rotate 360 degrees in a circle. I want it only to be able to rotate left and right. Okay. So now comes the fun part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my paddle and then I'm going to code the part where the paddle should sit. Now I want the paddle to be here. Now, every single time the user presses the game, I automatically want it to go here in the middle of the screen, just a little bit above the red area. Now, the one bit of information that we need in order to make this happen is we have to find out the X and Y. We know that we want the paddle to be in the center of the screen. So we want the X and Y, we want the X to be in the center, but the Y, we want it to be a little bit above. So if you were to take a look at the X and Y coordinates, this area here, we could see where we want our code to line up. So I'm going to say, okay, 120 on the Y coordinate, that's a pretty good number for me. Okay. So go to events. When the play button is clicked, I want my bar to go to X of 0 and Y of negative 120. So that when my game starts, no matter what, it always goes back to this area. Okay? Now what I want to do is I want to change where the bar goes back and forth. Now in order to do that, I have to tell the computer for as long as the program is running to always follow the mouse. So that's what we add in a loop. And we're going to use the forever block. And we're going to say forever block, set the x-axis, which is here, to the mouse pointer. Okay, so the computer knows where the mouse is on the screen 24/7. So we're telling our paddle to always follow the mouse on the x-axis. Let's hit play and let's see what this does. So as you can see, I'm moving my mouse. I'm not necessarily above on the paddle, but by moving it back and forth, it always follows the mouse. And this is important as we're going to be coding the other things as well. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're now going to go on to our ball sprite. So there's two ways we can do this. We can either choose a sprite from the library and select a ball, any ball that we would like, or we can paint ourselves a new ball using the Eclipse tool that they have. For this example, I'm going to be using a ball that's inside the Sprite library. So I'm going to click on ball, and here I have a ball. Now, with my ball, what I wanted to do is I wanted to bounce off the walls at different angles. So just bear with me with 1 second. So when we click the play button, we want the ball to go to a certain area on the screen. So it's only fair that when the game starts, that the ball goes to the center of the screen and it goes at the top. So I'm going to say, okay, go to 160 degrees at the top. That way that when the ball falls, it has enough room to fall. Okay? So go to the x of 0 and x of 160. So I hit the play button, and as you can see, our ball automatically goes back all the way back up there, where the game should start. Now, what we want to do is we want to have the ball point in a different direction every single time the game starts. We might want the ball to go left, we might want it to go right, we might want it to go downwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do point in a direction, and I'm going to say choose a random number. So when the game is running, we don't know where the ball is going to go. So we want the computer to decide that. So bits and pieces of information that we know is that over here in this direction is 225. In this direction here is 180 degrees. And in this direction here is 135 degrees. So what we want to do is we want to say, okay, any number in this range, 135 to 225, we want it to choose. Now, just like for the paddle, we want to say as long as the game is running, we want the ball to move 10 steps. And if it's on the edge of something, we want it to bounce. Let's see what this does. So as you can see, our ball is bouncing all over the computer screen. Now, is it hitting our paddle? No, it's not. But what we have done is we were able to code the ball to run. Okay, so now is the interesting part. What we want to do is we want to say if the ball hits the paddle, we want it to bounce back up into the air. And to do that, we need to go to our control settings, and we need to say if touching paddle, what do we want it to do? We want to change its direction. And for this here, in order to have it go back up, we want to change the x-axis to the y-axis, to negative numbers. So pick a random number from negative 30 to 30. Let's see what this does. As you can see, when our ball hits the paddle, it bounces off the paddle and it goes back up into the air. Okay, so we've done a pretty good job. However, our game is not complete. Our game does not work because when the ball hits the red area, the game still is going on. So what we want to do, we want to add another if statement. And we want to say if the ball is touching, a color such as red, so all I did was I clicked on here, and I went into my mouse and I dragged it over here. Then we want to say stop the game. Okay, let's see if this works. Here we go. Bounces again. Bounces again. Bounces again. Oops, our game is done. Our ball hit the red area, the foul area, and the game stopped. So how do we take this game to the next level? Well, what we can do is we can add sound. So let's go over to sounds. Right here we have a sound that's called pop. I'm just going to increase my volume so you can hear. So whenever you hear pop, let's say that when our paddle hits the ball, it pops. So let's click on our ball sprite. Let's go over to sound, and we want to play the sound pop when the ball hits the paddle. Let's see if it works. Very good. Now we want to play another sound when our ball hits the red foul area. So we go over to sounds, we choose a sound from our sound library, and I'm going to utilize let's see, I'm going to say cymbal is a good one. Or I will just like to use the snap. I'm going to click on OK. So now I have the snap. So if the touching color red, I want to play a sound called snap. So play the sound snap. Then I want to stop the game. Let's try. Okay, so our game works. Okay, I highly encourage there you go, there's a snap. I highly encourage you to try the game on your own, and also feel free to stop the video for the code. Thank you for watching.